Hello, it's Fragments. We are once again a full complement. Return of the Jack. So to summarise what happened last week, the group fought and killed an undead dragon, which was the former companion of Virat Janelle, who is a Githyanki from Faerun, like the party. He has petitioned them to help him put his old companion to rest. They did so. There was a very, very bloody combat. Who got the kill and blow in the end? I think it was Quint with a big old magic missile, maybe?
I think it was the magic missile. Yep.
But yeah, Hazim did a lot of tanking. It jumped around a lot. We found out that an ability had been used wrong all campaign. It was your typical D&D combat. But yeah, we have just struck down that enemy. And that's where we're picking up. Vanessa has been gone for some time. When they were in the library a few sessions ago, what we now know is a bit of an interdimensional space. The creature in there was creating and using portals to attack the party and summon spells. One of these portals opened underneath Vanessa. She fell through. One appeared in the ceiling. Quint fell in, to the point where Hazim thought that Quint was a disguise of Vanessa's for a moment. But now, yeah, Vanessa has not been seen since. So on that note, let us head through. Here is our map of Falkovnia loading in. We are currently at Hunger's Hollow. The group are gradually making their way through Hunger's Hollow to the road with a view to get to Morfenzi. So yeah, let's load on into Hunger's Hollow. So Solokania lies re-dead. You are all taking stock of heavy, heavy wounds. What is everybody doing?
I had asked if he wanted me to set this thing on fire, the remains, and he had kind of put me off. I forget exactly what he said, but before we ended the session, my intention was to insight check him in regards.
Yeah, I think just after you typed that last time, Hazim mentioned, Virat Janelle mentioned about digging a pit for the bones and burning them and that, and Hazim had said that they'd help. You'd help with that, and Virat Janelle was positive about that. So I think what you thought was, no, leave me with the remains of my dragon, was actually more just no, there's a proper way of going about this. Thanks.
Very good. Okay. I'm good then.
Don't suppose we have anything that resembles digging tools for digging an enormous pit to bury an undead dragon, do we?
If you give me a little while, I could sort out a hole for the remains. And DM, I would like to use my burrow ability on my gloves.
Which, if I remember, and say your gloves further amplify that, don't they?
Yep, I've got burrowing speed doubled.
Wow.
Then yeah, you absolutely can start to pick out an area and start the laborious process of digging. It will take long enough that, unless people are helping you somehow, everybody except you will gain a short rest over that period of time. But whilst Whisper sets to and starts digging, Hazim, Quint, what are you up to?
Quint is slumped against a nearby rock formation. Still in amazement that he's been a part of slaying a massive monster since he has never been in any kind of situation where he's had to do monster fighting before.
I imagine I'll be helping Whisper. Like, she's burrowing it, but it's still gonna need moving, right? It's not like she's like it's like fucking flying all up, so I'll be kind of shifting earth to make some room for it.
I mean, I do imagine her digging style wouldn't be far off that.
Yeah, but it's gonna get to a point like I'm just saying it's a big hole for a dragon. Like, she's gonna get to a point where it's like she's just managing to shoot it like 40 feet behind. It's like she's suddenly got a new ability that can like kill people. So yeah, so I imagine she's kind of like screwing it, and you know, she's like the excavator, and I'm just kind of like moving it out of the way with Girard.
Yeah, and while that's happening, Virata sort of nodded approvingly and has now taken his sword and is walking around Solokinir's remains, slowly making like choice cuts, but he seems to be gradually disassembling the dragon's limbs and taking Solokinir apart in a way that seems to be arguably for practical reasons for burying, but also seems to have a bit of a ceremonial element to it. He remains quiet. Did Foundry start behaving for you yet, Vanessa? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I imagine I keep like looking over and taking an interested eye at what he's doing, but leaving him to it. This is kind of like his moment to do his thing. I forgot what I was going to say. No.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of can't think what I was going to say.
As this is going on, Quint's taking stock, and Hazim and Whisper are helping to dig. There is suddenly the same familiar noise of that you heard before during the combat, and Vanessa, through a red disc in the ceiling, just suddenly falls and lands heavily on the floor. Vanessa, as far as you're concerned, the combat with the scholar has just occurred. You're like a round into that combat. You've been in the library, and suddenly you are much colder. You are in this. So this is like a petrified forest on the map, but for you, it's all everything: floor, trees. There's no horse and carriage, but everything else is just coated in like a membrane.
Yeah.
You will see the message fall out the sky.
Party. Yeah, she'll, I imagine maybe some books fall down out of the portal with her. Like, maybe flutter back into the portal, I don't know. But, yeah, she is on her ass right now. And, she's starting to stand up, looking at the others. Looking around, she looks very confused.
I will kind of like, well, Whispers in mid-bar, I'll kind of like, quick! And I'll start climbing out of this hole that's getting gradually bigger. Just kind of like batting dirt off, and just walking over with a smile. Are you okay?
I'm not sure. What, the books, the library. What is that? And she looks past Hazim to the, I assume, gigantic dragon corpse that is sort of being, given a grave for.
That is Selkanir. It's we've met Virat Janel, the GIF champion of Vakovnia. I'm looking at Jack. Says, does Vanessa look that confused?
Oh yeah. She's
We have heard about. You had heard about Virat.
yeah.
you know.
She knows Jeanette.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think she'll cast a look over at him if he's not like. Is he helping dig out the grave?
No,
or-
he's cutting up the body.
Okay. Yeah, she'll take a look over at him.
Just
And
looks over
then-
and gives you a nod and returns to his work.
I'll pop my head up above the dirt, just covered, and like crawl out of the hole and come over and put a hand on your shoulder. I am glad you have returned to us. I was
What do you mean
worried
returned?
We have been out of that place for how long now?
30 years.
Over a day.
Yeah, we have been out of that place for over a day now. We've traveled up here. Much has happened in that time period.
What?
So much has happened, even in the day that we. Time moved quicker outside of the library. It's moved on. We're coming close to the new moon. It was
Well-
only a few hours for us, but weeks had passed.
So the house, the Rekis, the refugees.
They are
We're
there.
at the house now.
We came back through the portal that we entered in. But you had obviously disappeared, and in your stead, and I point over to Quint. We found another. He helped us defeat the being in the library. And I'm saying this.
Hello.
I'm saying this quieter, because obviously we've not revealed all this to Virat, so I'm kind of like keeping it quiet and being subtle about, like, not mentioning to thingy.
I will say, however, we did find a strange portal at the Three Traders Lakes, and were attacked there
By what?
another form, similar to before.
You mean
The one-
the-
That
The
was
what?
after.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, timing seems to be off.
Meta.
I honestly took it as you trying to stop Vanessa from saying the thing in front of her. Like, yes.
No,
the
I
thing.
know Vanessa's
Vanessa
cautious enough.
Whisper gives a nod that puts you in mind of something looking like this.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were able to defeat it with help from Virat. He just appeared in the forest. But we believe that what we found at the Three Traitors was a portal somewhere else. Hopefully to leave this place.
The rat. Did he know anything about these portals or the library? Anything?
We've not mentioned anything to him. He seems an ally enough. He doesn't seem to be any great friend to Drakov. He is simply trying to survive here. And he thinks that favor will soon wane, as is Drakov's way. We agreed to help him put his companion to its final rest. And hopefully we've gained an ally in that time.
What of him? And she'll very casually glance over at Quint and then back to Hazim and whisper.
Magic user.
Half-elf. He is from Faerun.
Dropped through the portal as you dropped out.
He came here through some experiment, he believes, that his master was doing. His master meddled with chronomancy, I believe it was.
Seems very much trapped like us.
But he is trustworthy. We have managed to sleep around him and not be murdered in our sleep, and whilst he might not look like much, he's an incredible fighter. Extremely resilient. He was the one that managed to best this creature in the end. Though obviously a lot of it was because of my help.
I can see no time has passed at all. And Vanessa will turn away from the others and turn to Quint. You, come.
Oh, yes, hello. My name is Quintinius Bolanix. Pleasure to meet you. I take it you're, Vanessa. Your companions mentioned they had a third.
Yes, they were right. I am she. Tell me more about this experiment that brought you here. If this is an appropriate time, I see that there's that to deal with as well. That at least has been dealt with. What were you digging some sort of grave for it, or?
Yes, Mr. Vraginel intends on a proper sending off for his once companion.
Yes. Well, I suppose I'll let you get on with what you were doing. I just need a moment to get my bearings.
Yeah, I'll give another time. Take your time. From here, we'll be heading to Mofenzi. That's still the plan.
Very good. Yeah, I think Vanessa will just sort of stand there looking at the ground and at the weird. You said like membrane. Is it like ash or is it like a more slick or what?
It's if moss was flesh,
Oh, sexy.
and it mats everywhere here.
Can I flicker my Eldritch Sight on and see if anything specific pings or?
Yeah, you can, but it does not show as being magical.
No. Yeah.
Things that do show as being magical, other than those that you are.
She's gonna look Quint up and down too with these eyes, just to see what he's about.
Yeah, you spot a couple of magical elements on Quint's person. You also notice that the Githyanki, the huge silver greatsword on his back, is unmistakably magical, as are the bolts in the quarrel on his back.
Are they crossbow or longbow bolts?
Crossbow bolts.
Yeah, exactly.
On
Well, we need
Quint,
some
you
new
would
bolts.
sense that his cloak and the horn that he has hanging from his hip are magical.
As well as a book, or presumably 2 books on his possession.
Are they out in the
Only
open?
one magical book, actually. However,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they wouldn't be. They wouldn't be out.
Okay. Yeah, she'll just kind of like stand back a bit so that Whisper and Hazim and the others can sort of get back to what they were doing. Just give her a bit of time to check her surroundings.
I'll kind of just give her. You go anywhere interesting?
Me?
Mm.
No.
You disappeared, but
No, I was just in the library with you.
Can I
It's
insight
like no
check?
time has gone at all for him then.
Oh.
My bad.
I'd like to insight check
Mhm.
Vanessa. Not that I think
Me?
she's ever been known for telling porcupines or anything.
Says Hazim.
A dirty 20.
Yeah, she looks genuinely confused. She she doesn't understand why time has passed the way that it has.
Cool. Let's see. We've much more to say, but not just yet. There are other things to do.
I'll be with you in a moment. I just need to get my bearings. As I said, if you need help, I can assist in whatever way I can. Just need some time right now. And she'll just walk a little bit further back. And when she does, she'll start to mutter to herself, "What was that?"
It wasn't me. I'm as confused as you are.
Have you heard of anything like that before?
No, but I'm very familiar with illusions. You could still be in there. This could all be a ruse. You could be there, bleeding out on a mountain of books. This could all
Yes.
be in your head.
Well, if it was, then I suppose you'd be looking for another host. So, in that case, I guess we're both thankful that I'm alive.
Every day.
And she'll turn back to the others and just watch them as they're digging around. What is Quint doing? Just off to the side?
Recovering from his breathlessness and wounds.
She'll saddle up next to him then. Whisper says that you're adept with magic.
Indeed, I trained under my master, Master Gariadus. He raised and trained me as his apprentice. What about you? Something similar?
Somewhat, yes. You are from Faerun then?
Yes, the South Sword Coast, relatively inland, small village, or at least a forest near a small village, I suppose.
Well, what sort of magic did he teach you? They teach you?
I suppose typical wizardry. He was particularly focused on chronergy magics. I think the experiments he conducted, he wouldn't tell me exactly what his goals were, but it was very clear that he was trying things, experiments with undead, trying to revert them, perhaps to a living state, things like this. However, I've personally always been more fascinated with the ancient elven arts, blade singing and the like, but my master didn't approve, so I had to read about it in secret and practice in secret, I suppose.
So then you're a blade singer?
Well, an amateur one, but I aspire to be, for sure.
Yes. Well, good on you, I suppose. And she'll look over towards the giant dragon carcass.
It's gradually reducing down as limbs and extremities are separated. Head is very carefully removed, and then the notches of the neck, it's essentially being very reverently reduced to a pile of large chunks and segments. Once the pit is ready, the rat begins to transfer one piece at a time, all the elements into the pit. The larger lengths of bone down at the bottom before it's piled on.
What kind of injuries does everyone seem to have? Like, is it burns, or is it like claws and blood, or
Not burns, I'll tell you that.
Bloodied and battered mostly.
Yeah.
yeah?
You will smell. You can smell burning. There are patches on the ground, a couple of large areas where that membrane has clearly been burned, and in some cases very, very heavily disturbed afterwards. There is a slight bit of singeing about on people, and you can smell quite a lot of. You can smell burnt flesh quite a lot.
Yeah. Vanessa will not say anything, but just kind of look at Quint. Blood that's been pulling out of his wounds, and squeeze her hands a bit, and she'll start to reach into her coat pocket, and she pulls out not like quite a handkerchief, but more just like a shred of fabric that she'd pulled at some point. Here, you might want to dab some of that off.
Oh, thank you. I've honestly never really been in a true combat in my life. This was quite the baptism of fire. And he cleans himself up a bit and applies a short rest.
Yeah, when you're done, she'll take the cloth back and tuck it away.
What was that? What was that, monkey?
So creepy.
I just realised you may not. Oh, you've seen Vanessa's art in the panel, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Very presumptuous. You haven't been unmolested for an hour.
You told us we could get a short rest.
By the time it's all finished, no. You can. Everybody except Hazim. You said you were joining in, weren't you? So yeah, Quint and Vanessa are both able to get a short rest.
I'll take it.
Solokinir's remains are lowered into the pile. The rat begins to pour like a flask of oil over, looking around there. I had hoped to break off a large amount of underbrush and wood to cause the fire, but yet it seems this will not be possible here today. You can always have this flesh. The oil will have to suffice.
Will it be enough? Or do you have enough of it?
It will. It will be aided. And he scatters, pours more of the oil and gives it a few moments, and then just extends a hand. And you hear like a quiet mutter, and a modest gout of flame comes from his hand. And he sort of passes it back and forth over the length of the pit, and the remains very quickly leap up in flames.
I'm gonna cover my mouth. I imagine the smell of burnt necrosis is not the most pleasant.
You mean you smelt that every time that it was using its flame breath because it was burning all the fleshy floor and then flicking it up in some cases as well. You've had some nice burning flesh rammed into your eyes, nose and throat already in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, it's in my clothes. Ugh, can't smell it. Can't get rid of the smell. Yeah, I just have to
He's rolling on his back.
Do you
So, yeah.
say any words? Anything we should join in?
It all takes place here, between myself and Salo Kanir. You have my gratitude, each and all and every one of you.
Where will you head to?
I will return to Lekar now. My absence will be missed. But should you return there at any point, know that you will have an ally in me.
I would presume for now an ally best kept to our chest. I imagine there are many questions if our meeting was known about. Is there any way that we can get in touch with you in Lakar?
You can find me normally in the Crimson Spear. It is above there that I take lodging.
Very well.
Outside of that, if I am about the business of the city, you will hear about it if you are in Vimba walls. We are but a week away from the new moon. Drakov will like to parade me around.
Wait, a week away?
As I said, time has traveled somewhat quicker.
So that means what I think it means.
We have little time to prepare. We hope to head to Morfenzi and then make our final journey to Lekar before the moon. I turn to Virat.
The fire is very, very intense. Even though it's like in a pit, the flames are getting about 10, 12 foot high.
Is that? I mean, how much alchemy is provided for this? Because in my head, I'm thinking, I've got a bottle of this shit in my pocket.
No, it was just regular oil he poured. It seemed to be like. This is
He
not.
did say he had alchemist fire, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Virat. I don't mind. I don't mean to barge in. I obviously have a lot of catching up to do. And Vanessa and Sidia. But in Lakar, you said you would ally yourself with us. Do you have anyone else who would also serve in that way?
To what end do you speak?
Well, survival mostly, but we obviously are not from here and have probably amassed a certain number of forces that seek to do us harm or to do other things to us. It would just be nice to know who we have in our corner.
I've discussed some of this at length with your companions. Killing Irina has not upset me. We all seek to leave this place. If I'm able to aid you in a way that doesn't get me killed in Lakar, then I shall. But I command no forces. I am but a single, simple warrior. Less, sort of gestures to Pit, less even than a warrior whole now.
Do you know of any others from beyond the mists in Falkovnia?
Not in the time I have been here, and I have heard no names from before.
Well, if we do find a way to leave, and it is within our power, we will ensure to get word to you.
Good. And he takes another look at the fire. I return to Lekar. Safe travels. And just begins to walk off.
We've only just woke up, so it's in the early hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 9:30. You woke up around regular time, travelled the rest of the way back to the Hollow.
Yep.
So yeah. So in fact, by the time you took a rest, it's almost 10:30.
Azim, I mean this with no disrespect, but you smell awful. and she'll flicker her hand in front of him, and some of those shadows start to climb up him, and she'll cast Prestidigitation on him. Pull out some of that scent out of his fur.
I knew I'd missed you for something.
What? Not our witty banter?
No, I keep that with me wherever you are. It felt like you were always in my ear with every decision I made. What would Vanessa do? What would Vanessa say?
And what? You do the opposite?
I did think of you before we left, though. Tried to get something from Mr. Brain in a Jar, whose name Cespedan. I believe, Quint, you're carrying a book, yes?
Indeed, he's said that it would be of interest to both you and I, Vanessa. A book of spells.
I look forward to having some time to read over it then.
We should try and find that time whenever we can, but keep in mind, time is the one thing we do not have much of.
Time seems to mean very little here.
Perhaps, but now that we are back, I do count the days. I think perhaps we have grown overconfident or maybe underestimated just exactly what this new moon brings. Now that I have seen Varat fight and heard it from himself of how much of a danger it is, I am beginning to doubt myself. Not my abilities, of course, I will be fine. I'm not meant to die here. But I do not think it will be as easy as I once did. We learned a lot from Cespenar. And I wish I had made more notes because I would reel them off. But I'm sure Quint has. Although some of it doesn't even make sense to Quint. So.
GM.
With my keen mind!
I was gonna say, with my keen mind, is there any way that, for like, just brevity's sake, like, if you could just give the rundown of the things that Cespenar told us?
No!
Fine.
If you want to have a keen mind, be a keen note taker.
This goes against the conversation we had before on this. Okay.
For small details, not hey, can you please TLDR that 2-hour lore dump, please, DM? But
Yeah,
Quint, it seems that Quint is a responsible player. It sounds like it's achieving enough to be.
I think
look forward to hearing about it more when we're not in. How far does this forest go? This flesh.
it is mostly the hollow where we are. This is where the dragon was. It is the dragon that made it like this, I believe. And so the further out we head, the less you will see of it. We are in the middle. I pull out the map and show where we are on the hollow. And so it is probably, half a day walk to get to Morfensi from here, do you reckon?
Little more. You should probably. I'm trying to think when I did it, Jack, but you should see that in scenes you have the map available to you to switch to, and it's all revealed now.
Love that for us.
So yeah, there's a marker where you are, and you are heading, of course, to Morfensi.
I have access to temporary Falkovnia map. I don't know if I have full Monty.
I am listening. 1 second.
Oh, he's wearing pants today. Good for him. Yeah, I have the temporary one, but I don't have the full thing.
How about now? Click out of scenes and back into scenes.
Bah. Well, I'll worry about it later. But I say as I refresh. Yeah. Vanessa will look over at Whisper and just kind of very gently place a hand on her shoulder and say, "How have you been?"
I have been okay. Honest, not enough time has passed for much change to occur. I am worried about what will happen when the moon comes.
Yes. Well, let's get you cleaned up, and she'll kind of like dust some of the dirt out of your hair. But as she does, she'll also cast prestidigitation on you to draw out some of the funk from your head.
Yeah, I've got dirt everywhere. Just, I don't seem to mind it at all, though, but it is just absolutely like matted in my hair and everything, so. But thank you. I guess this is strange for you since you feel as if you weren't gone at all. And here we were wondering if we'd ever see you again.
You've made a lot of movement across Falcovnia. What else did you encounter? I mean, I suppose we could talk about this as we find a less.
Yeah, we can say that you're walking, or say this if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's walk and talk.
Let's find somewhere safe to actually rest up for a little while. Myself and the Whisper could do with a bit of a break. But further away from this place.
Yes.
But when we returned to the house, the Silver Bastard refugees had made their home. We had been gone for
Apparently.
about a week.
Mhm.
From there we went to the Three Traitors. I felt a pull again to that place. And we were almost led to the altar that Whisper mentioned. Some sort of, I don't know. I like to think some kind of portal to help us back, but we do not know enough yet. But the talisman of the arrowhead was definitely connected there. It would spin at a great speed. When I placed it on the altar, I could feel it being pulled towards it.
Was Quint with you?
Quint has been informed of everything that we were able to remember.
Did you encounter anything else? I mean, this is a lot of ground to cover.
Not too much. Our passage to Three Traitors went relatively simply. The shrouded figure that appeared, it was different this time, stronger. It was able to summon other figures that would fight us.
Figures like it?
Similar, but not.
No.
It could not. They could not fly. They seemed more like they were under its control. But just to keep in mind that next time we see one, there may be even more shenanigans. I dare say that if it had not been for Varat, we would have been unstuck. It came close.
What kept you from trying to activate whatever portal this was at the Three Traitors?
Well, first of all, we didn't know how to activate it. There, we placed the talisman there as it was drawn to it, but I cannot speak for the others, but I think it's fair to say that we wouldn't have activated the portal willingly without knowing where you were. We wouldn't leave this place and even think to leave you here.
If I were to guess, it is a lock that needs 3 keys.
Who has the higher insight? Is it Whisper or Hazim?
Mine is 11 passive, so undoubtedly, undoubtedly Whisper, because she's got like a +5 to her wisdom.
Yeah, I've got like an 18 passive.
See, I think that I think Whisper would at least see that when Hazim mentions the not leaving without you, she gets strangely kind of cold at that. Like she stiffens up a bit, and she says, "Well,
I mean, if you're paying attention too, you would have noticed that Whisper was like mostly because the lock wouldn't open. Just so that seems to be Hazim's perspective on things.
Smooth talker, Hazim.
mhm.
I'm the good guy in this group.
Such a sweetheart, that Hazim.
We see this thing because I know we had a conversation with Sespinar whilst Vanessa was there and stuff was said, so I can't remember everything that was said once she'd left. The stuff that we talked about later.
Very.
Yeah,
You
he didn't
were
say a lot.
nothing, because to a point where before combat started, while Vanessa was there, I think it was Vanessa who wasn't sure if the voice was Bajar or was the scholar. Vanessa had no conversation with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna go with. I mean, Quint is here as well, so you can fill in any of the details if I'm wrong. But obviously, there are some things that might not make sense to you. We were speaking to Sespinar, and we were informed that this place seems to be one of many Demiplanes, as you suspected. It is what is known as a plane of dread, and this is but one of them in some ring of planes that I believe was mentioned. This one is Falkovnia, and Drakov is the Dreadlord, I think. They are in
Seems
control
to
of
be
this place
one
for each place.
demiplane tied somehow to the land.
I believe that Drakov has the ability to let, well, these dreaded lords are able to let people come and go into their domain, but it is believed that Drakov perhaps does not, that it is like a prison for her to learn her lesson, but time keeps repeating itself as she does not appear to learn, or she continues to punish herself. We are not sure.
Out of character, just because it's been a little bit for me. Is Drakov located in Morfenzi or Lekar?
Lekar's the
Okay.
capital, so that's where
That's
that's
what I
her
thought.
seat.
Yeah, Morfenzi is where the weird doctor and his experiments are,
Yeah,
making all those
and
agents.
Strahd.
and his
Yeah.
assistant Strahd.
So were you here for the Strahd mention?
Oh yeah.
So Strahd appears to just be a name that has been taken, because we found out that there is a true Strahd von something or other. He is the first dreaded lord in Bavaria,
Barovia. Yes, it was mentioned in one of the letters.
Strahd had died. He had been killed, and then there are those that look to bring him back, and those that look to keep him where he is. I don't know. Something bad will apparently happen if he is brought back. I don't know what.
So this assistant of the good doctor is simply adopted the name, or
It would
Whether
seem so.
intentional or by chance, a name they've overheard, I do not know. They were named Ironflower something? Silver something? I don't know, I don't have it written down!
Remember? Not remember?
Feldorn Silverthread.
I thought that was a name that was relevant to somebody. That somebody was like, "Oh, I recognize that name."
Yep.
There we go. Yeah, I
Yep.
thought it was you that knew it.
Hellborn
Yep.
Silverthread is supposedly the real name of this Strahd character.
There you go. Svelgorn. I mean, I can't even remember that they're called the Dark Lords and Barovia, so I'm not pretending I can remember everybody's name.
I thought that was in character.
The Almost
Um,
Inquisition
yeah, it
are
is. It
trying
is
to get there
character.
before their enemies.
Mm. Yes,
Yes,
the
Quint was there with us and took much of it down in his notebook.
Quint, you have
There
quite
is
a
some
keen
sort
mind.
keen mind.
Somewhat of a keen mind.
I'm going to transfer
Uh-huh.
that feat.
Um,
It seems
The-
Feldorn is using it as the name Strahd as something of a code name, and apparently Sespinar said that if we tell a member of the Almost Inquisition that we know Strahd, that we know Sespinar, it would be a sign that we too are part of this order. A
The
symbol of
order.
trust.
looking to stop this Strahd from being resurrected. There was some.
So the Almost Inquisition, they work for Drakov, but they want Strahd to remain dead.
I do
They
not
do
believe
not
they
work
do.
for Drakov. They seem to
don't.
be an independent organization.
I think Drakov's
working...
part of this is irrelevant. They are just one of many dreadlords of many domains.
You were saying, Whisper?
Yes. What Hazim said, but also this Almost organization seems to be working across the many planes and lands,
So
working
there's
against this other organization led by someone named Ludmilla.
Ludmilla. Huh. Did they say what the other organization was?
Clint, did they say what the other organization was?
They
I don't know.
did.
Yet.
That was in a different session.
I will
All right.
DM it to you, Quint, so that you can remember it in character.
Wasn't the Saga? I think it was it Sagarosa she was from?
Oh no, that was.
I know
something-
that was your campaign, but
Yeah.
that's not relevant to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah, yes, of course. The priests of Eusebius.
Does the priest of Eusebius or Eusebius ring any bells for me, or?
Unlikely. Make me a religion check.
I
I think it's got him. It's with DC 22.
damn. If it's a DC 22, I'm not going to make it either way because I only have 0 in it.
Oh, okay. Or history as well is also acceptable.
All right, I can do. And if it's a DC 22 for history, I can't do it either. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
You could if
nothing.
this was one D&D where natural 20s are crits. Get that right out of here.
Hey, you'll soon be changing your tune if they do remove the OGL for 5e.
Can't remove it. We'll be fine. It's fine.
Yeah, nothing about that is triggering anything for you.
okay.
So, yes, we were told that killing Drakov would potentially free us, but also potentially just destroy the plane. You don't really know what happens if one of these dreaded lords die, considering they are trapped here.
Well, I wouldn't say that she's either reasonable or agreeable, but if it comes down to it, do you think she brought us here to help her, or because we're strangers to her? We don't need to be here.
It is interesting that we are in her domain, whether it is her that brought us here or somebody else brought us here for their doing. Unless it seems that we are here by accident. Although, and I look over at Quint, you I'm not quite so sure about.
Yes,
are
you
not-
didn't come the same way that we did.
As far as I can tell, one of my master's experiments went awry. There was an extremely loud noise, like an explosion, and next thing I know, I'm falling, and then I'm in a library, fighting for my life. So,
Vanessa, Whisper is blue.
Well, that would have been something nice to know.
Yeah, sorry.
She didn't,
Whisper
she's being
is
polite.
blue.
She was being
That's-
polite. She didn't want to mention it.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Like Sonic the Hedgehog blue.
When she was like, "So, how have you been?"
yeah, it'll be more of like less of like a friendly concern and more of like a oh hi.
Yeah. I think realistically,
And-
Luca needs to play it up.
Sorry. Someone else, another detail I forgot. When you used your magic vision from head to toe, Whisper clearly has magic on it.
Okay. Well, a whisper. I didn't want to be inappropriate. Something is a bit different about you. I'm curious. It seems that you blew yourself.
To be honest, I had almost become used to it.
It's a lovely shade. It seems to be some kind of enchantment, though, or at least I don't. What is the circumstances that brought this upon you?
The same thing that sent you through a portal. It was the scroll creature thing.
Yes, a magical effect was shot at me during the battle, and it
This is-
seems to have lingered. Though, I did want to try to see if I could change that, and I'll stop walking for a second and just kind of concentrate and kind of whisper under my breath. And Jim, I'd like to cast Lesser Restoration on myself.
But before you do that, whisper, if you don't mind, and she'll reach in and pull out her little magnifying glass and just kind of like go in close, and she'll mutter the word to try and identify what this magic is that's covering her head to toe.
Okay, yeah. Give me an Arcana check. So you're examining, or are you doing Identify? Did you say? Sorry?
I'm doing identify. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I believe my understanding of this is correct. Through casting Identify, you are able to see that a curse lingers upon Whisper.
Yeah, just very unusual curse. Aesthetically interesting, though. But yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. If you wanted to try and get rid of that, by all means.
Jim, does that do anything?
Yeah, tick it off. You cast Lesser Restoration. I don't think we've seen you do this before. What does it look like for you?
It will just look like a warm glow, kind of starting down at my feet and just covering me completely before dissipating.
Yeah, as it fades off, you see Whisper is still blue.
What was the thing that Quint said might get rid of it? Was it a greater restoration?
I think I was just inquiring as to whether you'd tried a lesser restoration at the time.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being when you had done the check, I thought you had been given information by the GM on what would remove it.
Not that I
Okay.
recall.
Okay.
Well,
I
it's,
mean, above the table. Remove curse. It's a good way of removing curses.
well, yeah, I was about to.
Yeah,
I was about
I
to
thought-
ask
Yeah.
because now that Vanessa knows it's a curse, and because she knows about magic, would she be able to suggest, "Hey, remove curse"?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My dear, usually in these instances, when you are cursed, there are magics that you can use to remove a curse. Restorations are a bit of a different different game altogether. Unless it's more powerful restorations.
Perhaps
Also,
next
Whisper,
time.
you shouldn't have been able to do that lesser restoration because you haven't rested yet. I have no spell slots.
I just removed the spell slot. I had one.
Oh, you just take it off manually, did you, instead of clicking cast
Yeah.
spell? Cool. Okay. Cool.
I perhaps I will see if Frith is able to grant me that ability next time we rest.
Do you feel different at all, or is it just cosmetic?
No, I
She's
do not
really-
feel different at all.
She's really fast.
She's got to go fast.
And sad.
So what is our plan now, given all that we know going to Morfenzi? Is it still just to see the doctor and to learn more about this agent of his, or is it to try and find the agent himself and see if we can't dig deeper into the Elmist Inquisition?
I'll be quite honest. We've been at something of a loss without your guidance. And so, it is good to have you back. And I am not being sarcastic. I genuinely mean we were simply going to follow the only clues that we had. So if you have more thoughts, then lead on. Once you have come to terms and managed to digest everything that we've just told you.
No, I'm still metabolizing it, but yes, I do want to know about this doctor, though. He has to know more about. I mean, he's worked directly with Drakov. Even if I remember correctly, Drakov seems to be even frightened of his own power, his own experiments. I want to know what those are.
I'm not sure whether frightened is the word, but concerned, at least. Now that we know how powerful Drakov appears to be, I doubt there is much here that would fear her in her own domain. Speaking to Virat, he seems to be a little concerned about the good doctor as well. He was speaking of the abilities and it does not seem to be magic, but the gifts that he is able to pass on to the agents that follow him, the proficiencies. It seems to take something from them. They do not realize it at the time, but the gifts that they are granted come at what Vrat said was a greater cost.
Wouldn't know anything about that. Well, we could at least try to get information. If not, have you encountered any more undead, cognitive one undead?
Of a fashion. When we were fighting at the altar, there were two that appeared, and Whisper tried to get them to help us, which momentarily seemed like they did. They were not quite as self-aware as the ones that we met at Erie, but weren't quite as mindless, but seemingly did give in to their base instincts in the end, but they did not survive that long for us to do further checks.
Quint,
They
Yes.
I'm sorry, Whisper, you were about to say something.
Virginel disposed of them before we could learn any more, but I maintain that this disease does not completely remove one's ability or to remain keep hold of some part of their self.
I'm sure the good doctor has done plenty of research on that, especially given what he knows, what information is, I'm sure, traveled back to him in our time here. I did have a question for you, though, Quint. When were you brought here? What year was it in Faerun?
I tell them the year.
Line.
Yeah.
Across the
Quint-
table, I'm just trying to see if it was like a weird time thing that we've been here much longer than, or if
No.
it just kind of happens.
Quint provides you with a date that is like 2-3 weeks after you were all pulled.
Okay, gotcha.
Which near enough tallies in with what you're expecting.
Right.
He didn't say whether it was AC or BC. Oh my god!
Kill him.
The forest is, by this point, very much back to normal sort of consistency. From the height you are, you can tell that you'll reach the road in about 20 minutes. So if you want to stop and do anything before you get onto the road proper down to Morfenzi, now is your time.
I would like to rest. To take an hour.
By all means, you should take a break too, Whisper.
You look
We're
like
digging.
shit.
No, I didn't want to say it.
It's true, she does.
She's blue. She's pretty.
Dabba-dee dabba-die.
Exactly. Is it just like, so is it like your clothes too, like Violet Beauregard, or is it just like your hair and your skin?
I thought it was like
all
Violet.
that includes
Yeah.
clothes. Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. Maybe we just need a juicer. Word for Wonka. Might work
Yep.
for us.
You were Mike TV, you got teleported. So you're just like
Yeah.
little tiny Vanessa that we're carrying around now.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah. Any do you want to do anything while they're taking a break? Or are they just sitting down, taking stock for an hour?
Sitting down, taking stock. Might be worth Vanessa. I'll say it might be worth the two of you becoming more familiar with what abilities you have. I don't imagine it's going to be that long till we'll be fighting again.
Well, yes, I'm curious what you can do, Quint. You've talked you talked a lot about chronomancy and blade song, and you've apparently killed a dragon, so you must have some utility.
Sheepishly, Quinn says, truthfully, that's the first time I've tried doing the blade song with well, in real combat. It was one of the most fearful experiences of my life, but exhilarating nonetheless. By the way, we should talk more about the spell book from Sespinar. It has a handful of spells that you might be interested in. Blade Barrier, Blade Ward, Blink, Confusion, Flaming Sphere, and Gravity Sinkhole, which I think sounds the most exciting.
Yes, a few of those I'd be more than willing to look at. What else is it that you could do? I'm only passingly familiar with the abilities of blade singers.
I mean, I suppose it's mostly a method of. I suppose it's almost performative, trying to maintain one's focus as well as possible and dancing around your enemies to dodge out of the way of their attacks. But in terms of magics, I only have a relatively basic understanding of what of the arcane granted by my master's teachings. Nothing too exotic, I'm afraid.
You seem to be able to cast very similar spells. You have the thing that happens that rarely. You always both seem to be disappointed every time I see you cast it. Never seems to be successful.
Ah,
for
yes,
me.
that spell. It's unwaveringly accurate and yet somehow hit or miss, if you know my meaning.
And cruel irony.
You can do the where you disappear and reappear. I've seen you both do that.
Oh yes, of course, a staple of any magic user's kit.
And though they look different, the protective shield, which I've seen you both use.
Interesting.
Yes, I suppose a large part of the focus of any, at least the classical blade singers, is a very defensive art form. So making use of shielding spells and the like is certainly a go-to, one might say.
Did the elves have any opinion on half-elf taking on their sacred art?
He blushes a little and says, I'm afraid I don't have much experience with that, but what I know is mostly from book learning more than anything else.
You must be something of a natural. You seem to hold yourself pretty well if this was indeed your first battle.
Other than that we fought by the lakes, I suppose it was.
Well, if it's any consolation, if we're here in a week's time, you'll be fighting dozens, possibly hundreds of undead.
Actually, after experiencing fighting that dragon, I more than ever would really like to get out of here. So if we can just find a way out before that happens, that would be absolutely fantastic.
I agree.
Man with a plan.
How old does Quint look, by the way?
Half elf.
20 maybe. Youthful. Maybe younger, maybe a couple of years older, in that ballpark.
So what is our plan for the evening? Are we expecting to be able to rest in more frenzy, or should we have a backup plan?
As much as I hate to waste day after day by resting, I'm not entirely sure that we're going to get the warm welcome we'd like when we go to Merfenzi. That fight took a lot out of all of us, I imagine. So we could camp in the woods. It'll take us over half a day before we are truly at the town. Depends if we wish to stay here and rest.
I would say
Well, here on the map, there's
before entering.
You say what?
So on the map, it would be it's a half day's ride to Morfenzi.
Yeah, you'll get to Morfenzi today by night.
Okay. If we wanted to possibly take a rest in the woods, if Morfenzi is not accommodating, there is the Radiu's Glade below it. Is that something worth seeking out, or?
That would see you. Go on, Whisper.
I think I would rather rest in the foothills just outside of Morfenzi, far enough away that we will not get spotted by any lookouts, but close enough that we may rest and enter first thing in the morning.
It seems that you all have more information about this place than I do at this point, so I'm in your hands. Your very blue hands.
I would rather have as many tricks as possible available to me upon meeting this doctor, since I believe some of us will be of more interest to him than others.
Well, you certainly will be. I'm sure word of your presence has already gotten back to him. I wouldn't doubt if he already has a table set up for you already.
I would not be surprised if he has something similar to your looking glass.
Perhaps.
And would see the truth of you and Quint as well.
Fortunately, I am traveling very incognito, so I think I will go mostly unnoticed.
Right.
Hazim, I prompted for a short rest before. Did it come up for you?
It did not, but I will.
I thought
yeah.
that was
sorry.
so nice when that
It
came
did.
up.
It did have the prompt. So
And
it was
I've
on the
che- and
touch screen.
Cool, and I've fiddled your mithril, so that shouldn't.
Okay.
Big fiddler.
And
Cool.
finish that rest.
He's a mithril fiddler. Look at him.
So yeah, you come to a point where dark red grass extends to the south. Your options are get onto the road and carry it and follow it south, and it's a bit of a ledge down towards, but rapidly descends down to a bit of a marshy field that you know is the heart soil. Or you can stay on the road and follow it south.
What was the place that we were supposed to kind of be wary about? Was it Tidelands or was it the Heartsoil?
The heart soil. The Tidelands was like the golden fields of wheat.
Yeah.
Heart soil, only more fancy agents appear to be able to cross. But we did find out, I will say it en route, that we're not entirely sure, but it seems that the undead that attack Morthensi, they are often driven into the heart soil, which is probably why it is as cursed or as dangerous as it is.
Speaking of curses and danger, how did you manage to survive that library? What did you do? How did you get out?
We fought, we killed the scroll thing, and then we used a password to teleport back.
Thespinar provided us with the password, which was just all missed.
I'm almost sad I missed it.
I am also sad you missed it. I feel like we were unsure of what questions needed asking, much less sure than you would have been.
You seem to have a
Yes.
greater idea about. You already knew about planes and things of that nature. I felt like Whisper and I were somewhat winging it.
Plane or travel I'm familiar with, but demiplanes like this and other, what were they? Demiplanes of Dread? I can't say
He
that
said the title!
I can't say that I've ever really heard of those or been familiar with them.
Well, we have lots to
Did
learn and plenty of time, I'm sure.
Did Cespinar mention any other planes beyond just Falkovia and Barovia?
There are many different planes, I believe, but how we travel between them. Did she? I don't want to say anything because I have read the book, albeit a long time ago. I'm going to send you a private message, DM.
Uh-huh.
I'll send you a Discord.
Yeah, you were told that was a requirement by most of navigating.
Okay.
But no detail beyond that. And that will kind of tally into things that the Ness had relayed to you all from the letters. Yes.
Said that as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were told that each place had its own unique talisman that allowed you to travel from plane to plane. For some reason, the arrowhead is the one that brought us here. Whether it is the one that we need to leave, I'm not sure. But it interacted with the altar, so it is of some nature. I do not need if we need to find one that allows us to travel back to Faerun, if there is a Faerun talisman. So we're still unsure about that, but each place has a unique one. There are some people that are able to navigate it. Others require the lords to invite or make you leave. That is the only way I believe that you can actually leave the domain.
So
Well-
it's a gamble where we go, even if
Hmm.
we do find a way out.
I say it's the only way, but clearly Quint came in. I mean, you did not suffer any smoke or mists.
There was a lot of smoke in my lab.
Hard to say. I think there was an explosion, and then I was falling. Not that I'm aware of, but it's something that could easily have been missed in the chaos of the moment.
It's not subtle. It is the same with Verat. He was giving chase on the back of his dragon, Solkanir. Flew into a misty bank, and then the next thing he knew, he had flown into a stone wall, and he appeared inside the mausoleum place that we came through. That strange
A temple,
temple.
the one filled with amber.
He came the same place, but when he arrived in Falkovnia, I believe it was somewhere to the north, whereas we came out of the same place, but it brought us on the southern road. Just to make things a little bit more strange for you.
No, well,
As you emerge onto the road you know to be called the Hunting Way
oh,
from your updated map.
hello.
As you continue heading south, kind of denied the opportunity really by the geography to keep hugging a tree line as you normally do. Moments before we take a break, Whisper, you and only you hear a voice within your head. You hear a
Favorite place to hear a voice.
It heartens me that we shall finally meet. You shall all dine as my guests this evening. Tell those at the gate that I am expecting you.
I'm going to out loud say, I'm sorry, we will see you in the morning.
We're going to take a break. Let's have a look. I think everyone's in the right place after the camera off and on business. Yeah, looks good. So yes, your response is not responded to.
I will look at the others.
We're already looking at you for just having your
Yeah.
little outburst.
Yeah.
Yep. I do not know if it is a trick or whatever creature had attempted to speak to me before when I was taken to that place, but I was just spoken to and told that we are expected for dinner and to tell the guards at the gate this evening to let us through.
Did the voice sound familiar at all?
No.
DM. Meta knowledge, I think I know what this could be, but would Vanessa have any inkling as to like what kind of spell it might have been?
You would know there are spells that allow people to send short messages to each other, but then
That's what I thought.
you also have first-hand experience of stuff that's weirder.
It's true, yeah. All right. So you're saying she's possessed and we should kill her?
I mean, not for the first time in 3 or 4 days.
It's true.
This little flat. It has been this many days since Whisper
The
was
last
possessed.
possession.
Well, an invite is it's something we can either try to capitalize on or use as a sign of warning. I think both is probably an option as well.
It will take some time for Whisper to be fully rested that she has her abilities back. So whilst we may
Yes.
be there and safe for dinner, what comes after that, we would be waiting out the clock.
Well,
And quite possibly separated in that time, depending on how well dinner goes.
I heard you whisper. You said something about in the morning, right?
Yes, I do not like having my schedule set by voices speaking into my mind without permission. So I was attempting to respond, saying that we would be there in the morning, but who knows if I was heard.
Do we want to tempt fate and see what would happen if we don't take them up on their invitation tonight? See if it's a standing invitation, perhaps breakfast, brunch.
We could.
What is more concerning is how far we are away from Morphenzi, that seemingly they already know we are en route.
Perhaps they have spies.
They definitely have something. Whether... I don't know. We do not believe that they have anything with magic, but that is seeming less and less likely. Perhaps one of their agents has an ability that is able to see us.
Perhaps some of the agents that we have already come across. I do not know how else I would be connected to anyone in Morphenzi inviting us to dinner.
Am I remembering this rightly? Because it was a while ago, and I can't remember whether we went. I've either made this up. Have we had our blood taken by the Morphenzi agents?
We did, didn't we? Back in
When we
back
first
in the fort.
arrived, when we first arrived at the fort, they took our blood, right?
Yeah.
That was a good idea.
You do what you gotta do.
Then I will say, they do have our blood. Perhaps they know where we are at all times. Perhaps that is one of the reasons for us being here. I wasn't sure whether it was to simply examine and test as part of the good doctor's experiments, but now I'm wondering if there is not more ulterior motives.
Well, if that is the case, then perhaps we continue as planned tonight. And if they are so insistent on joining us for dinner, they can come to us.
Where do we wish to find our beds? There is little in the way of tree line or forest.
I will indicate on the map that I was planning on like crossing over the river either up here or down here and using the bridge, and just building up a camp in the foothills.
How wide's the river, DM?
About 40 foot.
40 feet across?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Damn.
Whisper will definitely prefer the
She's gonna
bridge.
be
Yeah.
just gonna walk down that bridge.
It's a proper river, this one, right? It's not like the shallows. Okay. Then I am not much of a swimmer. we will use the bridge. But perhaps we head back north, a little ways away from it. Just on the other side.
Agreed.
You continue along the road. Who's doing what as you travel?
Is it? I mean, it looks like it's fairly open plains here,
Yep.
right?
Yep. You see, to the area called the Heart Soil, you see short, dark red grass stretching out for the longest time until it starts to become a brief belt of green before the golden crops of the Tidelands start in the far distance. You see many undead just wandering around the red grasses. Some alone, some forming clots and groups.
Did Whisper get her message when we'd approached the red grasses, like when we were in the Heart Soil area?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got straight onto there from the woods. It was once you'd left the tree line.
Okay, then I'll say perhaps they are aware of those that enter the Heart Soil. Perhaps that is the good doctor's domain.
Jim, are there birds in the sky?
There are.
I know how you feel.
Then I want to take one down. So I'm going to do some Horospexy. I haven't done one today.
I will also respond, or perhaps we merely left the cover of the trees and they are someone that can see through the eyes of animals. And I'll gesture up at the birds.
Perhaps. DM, I know I've been allowed to just take birds out, but I'm also aware that I would probably be trying to avoid the Heart Soil. Can I wait until one's kind of like away from it and take it out as a freebie? Or do you want me to roll for it?
Yeah, do a d20. That's how long it takes for you to get one. Less than a 2, and you've not managed to get one in range before you get to the bridge. Yeah, you can get one.
Cool. As one drop, I can't time it so it thankfully lands on the path and not in the red grass. I'll go over and I mean it's already kind of exploded on the hard path, so I'm just kind of like taking it apart a little bit and spread it around. And I'm going to do my my wheeling woeing, and I'm going to ask whether we hold on, let me read it so I can work out how to question it right. So it's going to be guided by blood once per day. Receive an omen about the results of a specific course of action that you plan to take. Okay, so I'm going to say that the course of action is going to Morfenzi tonight instead of resting first. Because I'm obviously aware that we're seeing a lot more undead around here, and we're kind of like a bit out in the open. Presumably there's more undead gathered here than there has been in other foresty areas, right?
Yeah. The only place you've seen more undead than here is in area where they're all pressing in on you. Okay.
So being trapped out here might not be ideal. So I'm going to be seeing whether I feel we would be safe going to thingy tonight. So that is a wisdom.
Make your roll.
DC 12.
Undeniably wheel.
Okay.
It is the most cooperative the guts have been that you can remember in Falkovnia.
Okay.
Is this the first time Quint is seeing this?
No. He's seen me do it before.
Quint originally had a pet dog.
Okay. And is this wheel as in it's also acting towards my destiny?
Well,
Like-
you're acting about is it in your destiny for you to is it guided
Well, that's
for
what
your
kind of
destiny if
guided
you
by-
go
that's
there
kind of what
tonight?
guided-
So yeah.
Yeah, okay. I will kind of look over it and I look to everybody else and say, I am concerned by how many undead are out here. There is not much in the way of shelter or protection for us. We have not had to fight quite so many and we are unrested. It would be a dangerous place to stay. Not to even mention what other things might emerge from the hard soil that we do not know about. I am looking at what I see here, and I gesture at the entrails. I see only good portents if we take up, presumably, the doctor's invitation. Extremely good portents. I believe that we are safe to go there tonight.
You don't think that that could be Falcovia just influencing?
There is nothing stronger than destiny. No gods, no dreaded lords. Destiny is destiny. I would not be guided to it so positively if it was a bad action to take. And there has been many times whilst we have been here that I've been guided the other direction or it has been uncertain, but this... you can see that I'm very kind of like confident and happy about it. I am positive that this is the action we should take this evening.
Whisper, what say you?
I think there's a saying with my people. Translated, it would say, "We meet them even when we stop to pass droppings," meaning that the enemies are everywhere. So I think out here, in there, it is probably the same either way. If Hazim feels strongly, then I will follow.
Very well. Unless, Quint, you have any objections?
Quite the contrary. The chance to get inside and have some barrier between us and wandering undead sounds positively inviting. Although we should be sure to keep our wits about us, as it were.
Well, Hazib, since you were given this, lead the way.
And I kind of get up, dust my
He's
hands
just
off.
skipping at this point, right? He's just, like,
There's definitely
frolic.
my pace has definitely picked up. I am a lot more eager to head towards my destiny.
As you're heading along your way, Whisper, when you are about 40, 50 foot ahead after setting off, you just hear or sense a slight flutter or something that puts you on the slightest bit of alert. Over your shoulder, you see, taken off from the floor with a flutter, the bird that Hazim had just done his ritual on. Just takes back to the sky.
It's like its guts fluttering about.
No.
Oh.
I will stop on high alert and turn to Vanessa. Vanessa, is he bewitched?
I don't know, is he? Can I do an insight check?
Yeah, make an insight check.
Nah, he good.
Yay.
With a 9, he good.
It seems
No.
to have been in character.
Yeah, and then I'd also just flip on my Eldritch sight just to see if he's like covered in any kind of aura or something.
Just
Other than the one that I'm used to.
overwhelming sense of blue from next to
Yeah.
you, but,
Yeah.
but other than that, no, Hazim is
Just a
not
shift
subject.
blues.
Yeah, not subject to any undue magical effect.
No, I think this is just him.
I will look you dead in the eye. I just saw that bird get up and fly away, completely intact. And I do not know whether his vision is impaired or mine.
Is there any kind of like blood left behind where the bird,
I mean,
the bird corpse?
peering back, it's obviously a ways now. Peering back where it was, you can make out the shape of a dead bird on the path, Vanessa.
I think it might just be you, Whisper, or rather, things influencing you.
Very well.
And Quint, you don't see a bird, unless you see two birds.
And like Quint said, just try to keep your wits about you.
I will keep walking.
Yeah, you come to the bridge, a wide stone bridge, quite low. It's not as grandiose as the bridge that you first crossed over into Falcovia via. Yeah, the river is flowing to the north.
Away from
Yeah, away from Morvenzy. Which, you know what, now it's flowing south. It's flowing from east to west.
Well, to be fair, it does look like it goes through the mountains, so who knows?
Yeah. As you're crossing over, Vanessa, you notice it first as you're looking down towards, upriver towards your destination. You see drifting towards you just for a moment before it vanishes out of sight under the bridge. A figure in the water, face down, dressed in what looks to be like a dark or a black gown, and just a long shock of red hair, face down, drifts under the bridge.
She'll stop at the side that the body is floating under, and she'll like look underneath, try to see if she can catch it, and then she'll just immediately go to the other side and see if it like comes out the other end.
Does it?
I don't know. No, I don't think it does. If it's what I think it is, no. I think she'll just stand at the bridge, looking down, and like a little bit of disbelief on her face, and she'll look back at the other side of the bridge to see if there's any sign of that thing there, and then just sort of try to shake off whatever it is, and she'll just try to step back in line with the others.
Are you all right?
I thought I saw someone down there, a body.
Someone is playing tricks on us.
Someone or just the land itself. It's not the first time it's done this to us.
True.
Did you warn Quint about that, by the way? And Vanessa looked back at
Out
Quint.
of character, I genuinely can't remember if we did or if we've
I don't-
experienced that with Quint with us.
Experience what?
Warn me
Like just
about
being
what?
messed with.
Just
like
the
strange
general
visions
illusions
and
and
stuff
shit.
like that.
fuckiness.
I mean,
Yeah.
he saw it when we returned to the house.
Mm-hmm.
But he said,
Oh, yep.
Oh, we saw Drakov, the ghost of Drakov, walking through
We
us
also
in the
saw
house.
Vanessa.
We saw well, we didn't. They had seen
Or
Vanessa.
yeah, they had seen Vanessa. Yeah.
Spooky,
So
spooky
okay,
times.
so I would say,
Creaking
he's
doors and things.
experienced it himself when we first returned to the house in Silvervoss.
Not in Silverbass. The house.
Dekovan Manor.
Dekovan Manor.
It was the people from Silverbass.
It is the new
That
Silverbass.
place.
Yeah,
So
new,
that
new,
is-
Sil-
it
new
technically
Silverbass.
is, yeah.
You cross the river. Are you continuing south to Morfenzi?
I am, until told otherwise.
Yeah.
It begins to come more clearly into sight. I couldn't find appropriate art for what I have in mind for what the place looks like as a whole. I would like you to imagine and thankfully you're a table I can describe this to very well, a junior Kresk. This is, imagine a Kresk with thick palisades. Fort Watton very much gave the impression of being a military camp, like, fairly quick, easily assembled palisades. This is more long term. You can see that it has a slight slope at the back. There is no monastery at the top of a ridiculous switchback, but it does rise up to a hill. You can mostly see heavy-duty tents dotted around Morfenzi, the sort of things that would, I feel like in most fantasy shows would be like, the commander's tent. Those are dotted everywhere. There's large-scale, almost like festival tents. At the back, higher up, there is a larger stone house. Quite a grand house. Smaller than, say, Decavan Manor. By far. But still, notably, the only immediately visible stone building.
Do we see that? And I don't. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there like a plume of like blue smoke
Smoke.
coming out of?
Yes,
Do you see that?
you do. From a thinner than when you first saw it, but there is a blue smoke coming from the main chimney of the stone building.
And is it like that kind of like a navy blue, or is it like a cobalt blue, like
More
is it like a
cobalt
whisper
than
blue?
navy. More cobalt than navy.
Oh no, they've just been burning Sonics. Use hedgehogs as a kindling.
Oh god.
Yeah, you see heavy wooden gates. You see a couple of horses outside, with figures sat on them. But you've got a good 500 foot before you get to the gates. They've possibly seen you, but they haven't hailed you in any way yet. But yeah, Morfenzi lies ahead of you.
I will look and say, I do not know what eyes or ears are on us, and so I'm trying to be somewhat candid about speaking about where we have been and what we should say, but I do not know how we explain this, and I just point at Whisper. Not easily covered, nor explaining where Quint came from.
You are that concerned we could rest for the night and go in for breakfast.
You are more than free to, but my destiny guides me here. For me, it is the best place to go. I cannot speak for the rest of you.
I will follow you for now.
If you are feeling that you would wish to rest out here and meet in the morning, then I am confident that I would be fine on my own.
No offense, but I'm not. I think it's okay.
Vanessa, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing my my trench coat, my Morfenzi agent
Yeah.
attire.
I'm assuming, because we weren't sure what was happening, Drakov's ring is back in the possession of Vanessa, as it
Yeah,
was originally.
yeah.
Okay.
We needed it, and she wasn't here.
Wait, who took it from me?
It was just left behind when you disappeared. That's the only thing that
How
remained.
It was
convenient.
spinning
Yeah.
for a while.
Then do we continue?
Continue.
Then I shall start making my way. Still at a confident stride, heading straight towards where I'm meant to be.
As you approach, you see there are, two of these figures, both sat idly atop fine black, sleek horses. You see that there are at least 4 more figures in the tower above each of the towers above the gate. And one of the figures just sort of slowly rides their horse forward a little bit. It's a man you don't recognise, you haven't seen before, but all of them wear the full garb of Morfenzi agents. The eyes linger on the blue individual for a moment before snapping over to Vanessa. And you get the up and down. From where did you acquire these garments?
She'll put her hand up. She'll have put the ring on her ring finger. Just kind of flex her hand.
You are expected. It seems like a change in demeanour on seeing the hand, and turns a horse and a sharp whistle. And the gates are immediately drawn open.
We'll start to head in, following Hazim, but it's kind of like trying to stay close to Whisper just in case, you know.
Confident stride. Does it seem like of all the buildings, it would be safe to say that the doctor's probably going to be at the stone one? That looks like the most opulent, for as much opulence as Falkovina has.
Opulent would definitely not be the word for it. Everything else looks to be very functional, more long-term and dug in than Fort Watton was. Fort Watton was undeniably just a little military camp. This place clearly has more about it, but they haven't gone to springing up amenities or long-term residence. You see nothing approaching like... So Fort Watton had an inn because it was full of soldiers who needed some ale. You see nothing that even looks like it approaches an inn here. Everything seems to be very purpose-driven.
So where would we find the good doctor?
He just points up towards the building. He awaits you in his home.
Start heading towards it. I lean over to Vanessa. So the one that we're heading to is the one that has the smoke coming out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
How close do you have to be to see whether something is magical or not? I'm curious about the smoke.
That's a good question. Hold on.
It's 30 or 60, I can't remember.
Is it just detect magic?
Yeah.
I think by default it's the detect magic.
All right, yeah. About 30 feet.
How high's the building?
The building looks to be about, if we're saying...
The house is about 20
The
feet.
the roof is going to be about 45, 50
Okay.
feet up.
Okay. That'll be a little still far away.
Perhaps later this evening I can get closer.
So you see most people, almost everybody, dressed in that Morfenzi agent garb. You do notice quite a few who appear to have unusual physiques or some of the disfigurement that you saw Velstegar had when the 3 Morfensi agents visited you in Fort Watton. And most of them stop and take you in for a moment. A few narrowed eyes at the Morfensi garb on Vanessa. But yeah, most look at you for a moment and then return to their business.
Not everyone here is dressed as a Morfensi agent, are there? There are like civvy people here that still work with it, or is everybody pretty much?
Everyone seems to be agents. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You head up, and this building comes to you. You come to this building rather. A couple of deviations from the art. It's obviously not nearly as swampy as this art sort of makes out. And were you to zoom in, there are none of the bone and skull fetishes that there are in this art. But otherwise, accurate. It's not in the disrepair that Dekovan is, but it's not very well maintained. There are 2 guards stationed out front. You see Primrose is one of them.
And we met Primrose at Fort Watton, right?
He's the big dude.
Yeah.
He was the one that the Vanessa came onto, right?
Yeah.
He didn't blush.
You did. Yeah, he was very, very stoic and clearly their leader, but she managed to just crack a blush out of him at the end.
Yeah, she'll when she sees him, she'll actually start to kind of like pick up the pace and meet up with like Hazim, since I see him, he was leading us, and she'll walk in his direction.
Good
Primrose,
evening.
isn't it?
It
Primrose,
is.
isn't it?
It is, Vanessa.
Well, I've made good on my promise that I'd see you again.
Indeed you have. I don't recall meeting you before. Eyes quint.
No, I'm a new addition to the group. Pleasure to meet you. My name is Quintinius, and you might be?
Do you vouch for him, Vanessa?
For now.
The doctor is waiting for you in the parlor. I'm to show you to it.
Will there be lodging this evening as well, or is this just dinner?
Lodgings if you desire them.
Perhaps I do desire them. And she'll like give Primrose that sort of, come hithery look when she says that.
From what I understand, I may not be to your tastes.
My tastes vary. And she'll start to follow the others.
Yeah, you are led into a building. Music but will not play for me for some reason. Let me try it again. Is music playing for you all? Oh well, the dear viewers in the future will have some silence here. Yeah, you are led into a not of a floor clutter and just general mess that there is on this map for some reason, but very similar to this. Somewhat, it has been well furnished at some point, but it's all been left a little to seed since. You are led up the stairs and back along the landing to near enough above the entrance where you are let into a parlour, a seating room such as this. There are a couple of couches. There's like a dining table arrangement. Use any sort of seating you want in here. Walls cluttered with aged paintings. Not all of dogs, like it looks like they are here. This doesn't look like it is the crazy old dog lady's room. But idyllic countrysides. A couple of dogs, but they're Irish wolfhounds. And yeah,
What's
very
Irish?
Pardon?
What's
Iranian
Irish?
wolfhounds.
Sorry, Afcatlan wolfhounds. Yeah.
Thank you.
Always my go-to C. And yeah, the room is empty. Primrose looks across you all. The doctor will be here shortly. Will you take wine?
My goodness, I would love a cup of wine, thank you.
I'll bring a bottle. Be seated. And he steps out, leaving you in the room.
I will find.
Despite the instruction to be seated, Quint would definitely find himself looking around all the curiosities.
I will sink into a comfy padded chair and just feel my bones just melt and go, oh. Even though I'm
Whose couch?
yeah, as comfy as I
my
can
bones.
in my mithril.
We decided it's light armor
Very
now. It's absolutely
comfortable,
fine. Yeah.
Sure. But it's still rigid, right? It's still plate to a degree. It's not like morph suit that just moves around me. It's like the worst armor.
Who can say what rigid is? Not me. Yeah, looking for curiosities, Quint. You find all sorts of odd little trinkets, very, very fine covered gold leaf embossed books with fabulous titles, but absolutely zero inside in the way of contents. Odd little statuettes and brass knickknacks that give no immediately discernible use. Sadly, Vanessa, after a fraction of a second passes before she resists the temptation to use her Eldritch Sight, nothing in here appears to be magical. It's all
Thank
just
you.
strange.
Yes, it's all just strange in here. Peculiar, even.
What I would give you, Vanessa, is you have used Eldritch Sight. The things amongst you that you know to be magical do not show as magical.
Oh. Well, noticing that as I'm sort of scanning the room, and I think I would look to maybe like Hazim splayed out on the couch, and seeing that he doesn't cast, like his shift weave doesn't cast any aura, her eyes will snap back to usual, and she'll kind of kick him in the boot with her own boot.
And as a further reference for you, for locking in context here, despite this being the case, Whisper's still blue.
Oh, fantastic. She'll kick Hazim in the boot.
What?
Don't get too comfortable.
What?
Well, I can't see the shift weave aura that your garments cast, and I can't see the aura of anything that Mr. Quint has on him.
And I look down, but it looks like my shift weave is still working, right? It doesn't now suddenly look like I'm just in blank cloth. It's not made the magic inert.
What
Nope.
does the default shift weave look like?
I presume it would just look like.
It's white
Yeah.
with black printed shift weave, all over, like no frills.
No, yeah. Looks like a QR code or something.
Yeah. No, everything seems to be still. It's just the perception of it to Vanessa.
Well, it no different when we were in the manor. There are things that mask magic, do they not?
There are, which is why I'm telling you not to get too relaxed.
In respect, it is strong magic that hides magic, especially for a place that has no magic.
Exactly.
Well, for
You
now,
hear
I will
outside
relax.
the door footsteps. The handle turns. The door opens. Sort of crouched under, stepping into the door, coming into the room, is a figure. You are 6'6", Hazim.
Mm.
This figure is about 8 foot tall. Not like, doesn't have the appropriate breadth. They are in no way like a brick shithouse. But this figure is around 8 feet tall. They are unnaturally tall, thin, a wide black cloak, and still wearing, despite being indoors, they are wearing this hat. Their head slightly bowed under the chandelier coming in. Turns and looks across you all. It is joyous to finally meet with you.
I will stand up. I kind of like stand up because I'm like looking. I'm like, this guy's tall, and I stand up, and then I even like go up a little bit on my tiptoes to kind of give myself an extra 2 inches. And we appreciate the invitation.
And you are?
Dr. Pyotr Razbanov is how it normally rolls off the tongue here. You may call me Peter, if you wish.
You say it rolls off the tongue. Here. Here is in it is what people in Falkovnia call you, but elsewhere they do not.
That's how people in Morfenzi call me. But much like you, my accent does betray an origin elsewhere. Whisper, it is an honor. And he extends a hand.
I'll shake his hand.
He'll close his hand over yours, and you all see Whisper's blueness fade over the course for a couple of seconds. Much better, yes? Just like...
Yes.
I believe wine has been sent for. Can I offer you any other refreshment?
I believe we were invited for dinner, so I would not want to spoil our appetites.
Very well. And he lowers himself into a chair that, you know, it was one chair is slightly bigger than the others. It seems to take a very long time for him to make his way down into his chair. There's a lot of him to travel.
It's like that big one at Blackpool that you get when you're a kid.
He sort of draws his coat around himself a little. What have you made of Falkovnia thus far?
I have personally seen better places. Few worse.
Doctor, where is it you come from?
Much like you, I originate from a place beyond the confines of Falkovnia. I do not believe, however, it is your own realm.
What realm do you hail from, then, Doctor?
What is your home called?
Faerun.
Ah, but specifically within Faerun, for that is a term that encompasses an entire continent, is it not, from what I understand from Verat Junel?
The world is a Birtorel. There are two main continents, Karatur and Faerun. Each of us are from a different place within it.
I spent some time in a region called Rusk in my home, and then I've since spent many years studying in one called Londonium.
Presuming these are not familiar.
No.
They are other places like where we are from, or other places like Falkovnia.
Ah, you understand a little of the nature of this place, then.
There are very few
It
places.
is more like your Faerun. I seek to free us from Falkovnia.
Who is us?
Everyone here. Drakov fights the fight in her own way, and I aid her in my own way. Together I have every belief that we will exhaust this tide of undeath, and we will be permitted to leave once more.
How did you find yourself here? Did the mists come for you as well?
In a fashion, I thought that death had come for me. But when I thought my eyes be closed, they opened and I found myself here. Indeed, for a time at first, I felt I had perished.
How long have you been here?
To have accepted death as you plunge into icy depths and yet find that you were wrong and a second chance given.
Yes. Funny how that happens.
How long have you been here?
Time stretches and fades and behaves differently here from what I am familiar with. I myself have recorded the passing of at least 60 years, and yet I myself am unchanged. But I have seen others grow and die, grow old, move on. Not Drakov.
What of this Vlad Janel? He has been here some time as well, has he not?
17 years by my count.
Has he aged?
Not that I can tell, but I am not familiar with the physiology of his race. His appearance is somewhat startling to me, as yours would be if I had not been given reports that there was, by all accounts, a fox walking around.
I must say that your own appearance is quite alarming. I've never met somebody quite as tall beyond some of the half-giant races back home. But you do not seem to be of their kind. Is your physiology normal to where you are from?
No.
So then, you are unique to even your own people.
That is correct.
Why do you
There
think
were
it is?
no men like me.
How then did you come to be in Drakov's service?
I found myself here. My knowledge of medicine, my gift for healing, and my scientific mind drew her notice to me. I found her to be agreeable. She saw sense in much of what I said, and together we decided we could aid each other in turning back this tide of undeath.
Where does your gift come from? I presume you have heard it said that Whisper's own come from a god, yet few here seem to know of what we speak about. You seem more learned man. You're aware of the concept of gods and the divine?
I am.
Is that where your abilities come from? Where we are from, those that have gifts of healing are typically bestowed upon by divine or primal forces.
I only understand and see one such force, and he acts through me as he always has.
Who is this he that you speak of?
God.
Which one?
The Holy Father is his name. It is he who has put me serving and healing in the courts of kings. No doubt these deities you mention are simply aspects by which he is known in other lands.
Perhaps. Although where we are from, many believe that the gods are aware of each other and that they speak on each other's existence. You say yours is the Holy Father, but we have Sylvanus, who was the Old Father. We have Moradin, who is the All Father. Similarities, perhaps.
Similarities indeed.
So you are something more of a cleric, a priest.
A holy man. Whisper. You have overt gifts, I am told. It is no secret, but I have made clear my desire to meet you. I would enjoy talking to you about these gifts that you possess.
I would first know what you want with us.
The hard soil is treacherous at night, and my understanding was you were already on your way here when I formalized an invitation. So I, in turn, am curious What do you seek here?
No,
Yes.
before that, even, your desire to meet me, to meet us, how do you see us aiding in anything you wish to accomplish?
Well, several of you possess qualities that have sparked my curiosity. You, Whisper, the only other person, for a time, Vanessa, Quintinius, the only other person with healing gifts that I have met in or heard of in over half a century. How could I not be curious? And you, Hazim, who appear so similar to the purity of form that I have sought of my research into the primal essence, the primal serum.
We have heard of your research and do not wish to be mere ingredients in your experiments. I
Nothing
would
so
know
disrespectful.
outright. What would a respectful use of us be then?
Conversation. The sharing and imparting of knowledge. Showing me techniques, if such a thing can be taught to someone more theologically minded, perhaps, than well-meaning but short-sighted Captain August.
Would this trade in knowledge and skill and power be reciprocal?
In whatever way it can be, yes, I could certainly offer you opportunities to develop and harness those skills you already have. Perhaps learn entirely new ones. What better way to ensure your safeguarded future than increasing and gaining new powers and understandings?
And
Is
once
that not
these
after all?
conversations-
Is this not after all the pursuit of destiny?
Does he seem earnest in his intent?
You may absolutely insight check.
Azim's just green means go at the moment.
Quint the insightful.
False.
I am wrong. Yeah, he seems forthright. He seems
Does
to be.
Whisper want to check him out, maybe? Or not?
What was that?
Oh, I said, did Whisper want to do it too?
No, not yet. I mean, no, not yet. And when these conversations are over, what then? Will you allow us to go freely about our way?
Yes. I would be in not much of a position to prevent you, is my understanding from the bloody swath you have cut and poorly concealed across Falcovnia thus far. Despite my stature, I am merely a man.
You seem to be awfully well informed about our exploits. How is this so?
I have agents. You have been followed most of your time since you came to my attention. You are adequate trackers and rangers, but have often not noticed them. And I am gifted with The beasts and birds of the land often share their thoughts with me. Another gift of the Lord.
And so, to avoid us keeping too many things to our chest, perhaps you could be forthright in telling us where you have seen us and what you've seen us do. We are obviously well aware of what it is like in Falkovnia, and perhaps not all the things that we have done would be rewarded, or at least looked upon kindly. And so there are obviously certain discretions
He
that we may
leans
have
towards
made.
you a little bit. My agents properly disposed of those at Silbervass.
Is Drakov aware of what we did?
I do not think it has been necessary to distract her with such knowledge. I have made an informed decision that perhaps Drakov does not need to know about that. She was fond of Kalanikov. The door opens. Irina comes in. Wine is brought. 3 bottles. It's poured out. The doctor keeps a bottle to himself.
Does he pour from that bottle into our glasses?
No, but if anyone wants to do any sort of hand show, he will happily swap and drink. He's a big boy and wants a big drink. But yeah,
Sure.
if people want to call his bluff and like, oh, well, you drink from big, he'll go along with all that fine.
I mean, it could be poison. He just cures himself anyway. It really doesn't matter. And so we're from Silverbass. To where did we head next?
Interestingly enough, and something that made me even more curious to meet you, you went to that wreck of a mansion, and then you passed from my sight.
The mansion does appear to be a strange place.
No, you were in the mansion for a while, and then you passed from my sight, emerging with a new companion, and without a companion. I was most pleasantly surprised to see you, Vanessa.
Does your gaze cast all over this land?
Not consistently. I am certainly not omniscient. Only he is.
And what do you use to watch?
My eyes, Vanessa.
Well, yes, but there are magics or spells that can do this. Is that something that you tap into, or is this just a natural God-given talent?
It is through prayer and dedication that these things are revealed to me.
Do you have any text on this god of yours?
It was not with me when I fell. I carried my book most days of me, and so my lessons are here and here.
Well, what of your holy symbol?
Yeah, he will procure what you all above the table recognize as a cross.
Fascinating.
So I suppose a holy symbol that you are not familiar with.
Yeah, let's say. Well, what is it?
That being said, it will not be a full cross. It will be. I will pop it up next week for chat.
Oh.
But it is. I'll put it. There. Let me start again. I'll have an image for it for viewers next session, but I will drop in our chat for now.
Oh,
It is.
all right. He's
Mm.
orthodox.
Someone remind me out of character what the hell I'm recognizing that from?
Is that not Templars?
No.
No, I think it's
Oh, Templars
orthodox,
more
isn't
thingy.
it?
There is no skill check for players above the
Is that
table.
right? Yeah, it's an orthodox cross. Interesting. He doesn't have a Russian accent though.
But he said he was from Rusk.
And he's Razbanov.
In
Yeah,
a
that's what I
land.
said. Yeah, no, you're right.
Londinium is a place.
Londinium.
So he's like from some like Gothic Earth, alternate Earth, you know.
We're just
Earth.
very old Earth.
Earth 666.
Yeah.
You hear a bell in the background say, "Dinner is served." He sort of puts his hands on his chair and gets up and up and up. So, shall we speak more over a meal? That I may put your concerns to rest, I hope, Whisper.
The way.
And yeah, the door opens. He gestures you out, and we will have dinner next week with the good doctor. Oh, might be 2 weeks. We'll check once we go off. But yes, that was our session. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And we will see you all for
Who'll be
dinner.
signing off next time?
What he said.